Hello and good morning, afternoon or evening. I hope this video finds you well and welcome to my bear cave. It's taken a long time, but welcome to the movie Fancast. If you haven't already, please check out my previous videos with film critics James King and Khalees Lockland. They're great and fun episodes, so if you have the chance, please give them a look. If you haven't judged by the terrific artwork by Sean Longmore behind me, I'm going to talk about James Bond. Because this is my favourite character. This is my favourite movie character, and more important to me than DC or Star Wars. And it all started really whilst watching Roger Moore on TV as a little kid, and that's the reason why Roger Moore is my favourite Bond. So with that, I'm going to talk about the future of James Bond, and more importantly, the casting of the new 007, and talk about the 26th Bond movie. Before we start, let's lay down some ground rules. So I'm going to be as realistic as possible whilst living out my dream. My role will be as an executive producer for Amazon Studios, and I will be working alongside Barbara Broccoli. As part of my role, I am going to set out the budget, whilst giving some important story brief behind this new film. And mainly, I'm going to build out the cast and crew, and as important, the songs, the music, the theme, and who's going to sing it. Now that we've set the ground rules, let's just get to the fun bit, shall we? That's all we're here for. So we all know Barbara Broccoli has said previously that they're going to look for a new Bond next year. By this time, MGM and Amazon should have had their merger completed, possibly by early January/February. But also 2022 is a huge milestone for James Bond, as it marks the 60th year of Dr. No releasing. And personally, if the 60th anniversary should be a big, big thing. And to celebrate that, around April, May, I would, as part of Amazon, I would invite the world press and some selected fans as well to attend the famous 007 stage in Pinewood. And it will be customed out with costumes, props, cars from the entire franchise. And it's important that we celebrate with the fans who couldn't be there as well. So there will be a live stream on both Amazon Prime and on the official 007 YouTube page. So during the celebrations, the first thing that we're going to do is have all the Bonds talking about playing Bond, and what makes it special to pay him. And then straight afterwards there would be like a special memory of Sean Connery and Roger Moore, with both Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson talking about some of their behind the scenes stories and just general stories about the two men who are sadly no longer with us. It will be during this moment that it would be revealed that Dr. No would be getting a re-release on the 6th of October, as it would be the same day as it was in 1962. And funny enough, in 2022, it would be a Thursday. And it could be out in cinemas throughout the whole weekend. Other reveals and announcements would be something along the lines with Project 007, maybe a title reveal or something along those lines, as IO Interactive probably would have done a big lot of stuff during next year's E3. Then there could be an announcement for like a 4K release box set coming in time for Christmas, with all 25 films and new bonus features, as well as the movies releasing on Amazon Prime around about the Christmas time as well. And for a personal note, as somebody who generally loved the film and probably the only person who saw the film, have the Ribbon section become a Prime exclusive, with a sequel in the works with Blake Lively coming back, and Jude Law as well. During this time, we can talk about Daniel Craig's Bond, thanking fans for seeing it during a pandemic and raising as much money as it did in the end, and that it closed off Daniel Craig's Bond beautifully. This is when Wilson can take centre stage, talk about how No Time to Die was a wonderful end to Daniel Craig's era, and he would like take this moment to announce that he's stepping away full-time production as well, as it's, you know, leaving the firm, as it were, to, like his dad did, passing it to him and to Barbara in GoldenEye. It's time for his son to take up the reins, and with Greg coming in and working alongside myself and Barbara, which is the perfect time for Greg to come on stage and join us as we talk about the 26th instalment of James Bond. The important thing that I want to get across is that Daniel Craig had his linear story. It was one story through 5 films and many years. So we're going to return to the traditional way of doing Bond films. It's going to be a single mission, and we're going to return to the books as well. You know, not Fleming, because they've all been done, but other stories like Forever in a Day by Anthony Horowitz, or Jeffrey Diver's Carte Blanche. Both brilliant Bond stories, and funny enough, Bond stories that focus on the early years of 007, even before he gets his 00 status. And as part of his first mission is that I would like to see him have it, highlight his naval career again, because some of my favourite stuff in No Time to Die is when Naomi addresses Bond as Commander, and in The Spy Who Loved Me, there's a big section of Bond back in his naval uniform, and that's great to see. So as for the budget, I'll be giving Eon and the filmmaker something roughly around the 150 to 250 range, which was the same range as the Craig era. Now let's get to the casting. For Bond, or for this story purposely, it will be Commander Bond. And I know fans have been wanting the likes of Idris Elba, Henry Cavill, or Tom Hardy. But let's be honest, Hardy doesn't need Bond, and Bond doesn't need Hardy. Cavill is working on Argyle with Matthew Vaughn, which is going to be the beginnings of a new spy franchise for Apple TV. And Elba is too old for Bond. I do have a top 3 to play Bond. The first one is Bridgerton star Renee Jean Page, and he would be 100% my Bond now, because and you can understand why fans react to him in such a way thanks to the Netflix series and the way he presents himself in interviews, and he just looks top notch in a suit. The only reason why I've put him 3rd in my rankings is because in July it was revealed that he signed on to work on with Paramount for The Saint. Funny enough, another Roger Moore character that he made famous. And if I was Paramount, it would have been the smart move to tie him down for multiple films with a character similar to Bond. However, there is, I would say, a glimmer of hope that this film won't get made, as Paramount has gone leadership change at the top, as they're focusing on their streaming services, Paramount Plus, compared to feature films elsewhere. There's Nicholas Hoult. I think he's a great actor, and despite his youthful looks, I think being the fact that he was runner-up to Robert Pattinson as the Batman shows his level as an actor. And I could see him having similarities to Connery's Bond. However, my top pick, and he has been my top pick since the trailer for Crazy Rich Asians back in 2018, it's been Henry Golding. And I was sold even more when watching the whole film, because Crazy Rich Asians is a wonderful movie, and there are moments that highlight his Bondness. It's when he comes down in the white suit, and then it's the wedding scene where he's wearing a tux. For what his Bond would bring, I think he would be the smoothest Bond, and he would charm the women like Roger Moore did. I think you can tell there's a theme here. wasn't just Crazy Rich Asians. He's expanded his CV. He was a gangster in Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman, and he was a great villain in that. My only worry for a long time was his action, but that was sorted by starring in Snake Eyes. I mean, the film didn't do wonderfully, but it doesn't really matter. As long as he's got his fighting style, I'm happy with that. So now that Golding's going to be my Bond, who's going to be M opposite him? And it's unlike Bond, I have gone through a journey trying to figure out who should be M. Because for the longest time, for me, it was Benedict Wong. Because he was utterly delightful in the personal history of David Copperfield, and he's just a terrific actor all round. And he would bring popularity due to his work as Wong in the MCU. Then my backup was another stage actor and a man who also has history with Marvel, playing Dr. Octavius in one of the greatest comic book movies ever made, Spider-Man 2, and that's Alfred Molina. I thought he would bring something old school, similar to how Bernard Lee was in the franchise. However, it was only recently when Hollywood Reporter's Richard Newbury, so I'd give him total credit on this, that whilst he may be too old to play Bond, Idris Elba is the perfect age to be M. And that just switched the light bulb in me, and I thought he would be fucking perfect in the role. Because he would remind me, he would have similarities to Judi Dench's M, where he would give Bond a bollocking when he'd done wrong. Similar to Dench with Pierce Brosnan in GoldenEye and Daniel Craig in Casino Royale. Or how, again, Bernard Lee was with Roger Moore, like a stern father figure. And keeping to the military theme, with Bond being through the naval background, I would have this M being a former army general. So unlike during the Craig era, where we were introduced to essentially all the side characters in Skyfall, I'll do it right from the beginning. This film would just show everyone right from the bat. So we would introduce Moneypenny and Q, and as an audience, we'll build relationships at the same time as Bond is. As for Moneypenny, I loved how Naomi Harris balanced the character beautifully, with her being an agent or 00 in Skyfall before moving to the desk. I thought that was a great way to introduce her, and in that film it kept the flirtiness between the two, and I felt that was something missing in both Spectre and No Time to Die. I mean, they are friends. I mean, that was shown, but felt like it was missing a little something. And like the characters before her, Moneypenny would also come from a military background, which you can use for actresses to make a bigger impact for the character moving forward. This came to me whilst watching Grantchester, a show that I like. And during this season of Grantchester, they introduced a new character called Miss Scott, who works as a secretary for the police station, and she's played wonderfully by Melissa Johns, who can light up a room the moment that she's in it. And I'd see her bring in an old school Lois Maxwell vibe to Moneypenny. Keeping to that theme and bringing something new and different to the role, maybe look at an actress called Kira Allen. She recently received great reviews in the Netflix thriller Run, opposite Sarah Paulson. And being an American doesn't bother me. You can use it in the story as she's the niece of Felix Leiter, or that MI5 brought her in from the CIA due to her incredible data gathering, you know. And I can, you know, as you can tell, both actresses are disabled, and I think that what a way to introduce Moneypenny, that she, you know, she could walk into the room and for the first time we see her, she's in a wheelchair, and I can imagine how that would feel for disabled people, disabled actors and actresses in general. I don't know, you know, and I wouldn't make it a meaningless gesture. It would have to be story based. So that's with the military background, and you can do it in a sentence. But I can't imagine what the impact would be. You can tell me in the comments if you would find that as a token gesture or if it means something to you. Please let me know, because I'm generally interested. But my only worry with Alan would be that she's in her early 20s and maybe too young to play Moneypenny, which is why I went with a traditional pick at the end of the day. An actress that has been great in whatever TV role she's in, has a connection to the franchise with auditioning as Vesperlin back in the day, and her mum is Diana Rigg, and she's one of the greatest Bond girls ever, playing Tracy on Her Majesty's Secret Service. If you don't know, I'm talking about Rachel Stirling. And this would be a slightly different Moneypenny Bond dynamic, is that she'd be older than 007. And I think that might make the chemistry on screen more playful and more fun to see, you know, witnessing an older woman making Bond blush. So from upstairs, let's now go to the basement and with Q Branch. And the one thing I want to come back is the fun gadgets. If you listen to older Bond fans, it was the gadgets that got them into the movies and become lifelong fans. And that's something that Bond needs to do again, because it's an olding franchise and we need to bring in, you know, younger viewers again. I mean, granted, the reason why I got into Bond is, as I said, Roger Moore and witnessing Jane Seymour for the first time. And I can imagine what having gadgets could do for young kids. In, you know, they may want to build them themselves and, you know, have a job in engineering in the future. God knows. You know, it doesn't even have to be anything massive. You know, you can just say, you know, you can have Q simply saying, this phone is lined with explosives 007. And if you press this button and hold it, it will trigger a 60-second timer. So do be careful, 007. As for castings, I mean, Nick Frost would be fun, as would Emma Thompson. But similar to Golding, Bill Nye has been Q for me for the longest time, because who wouldn't want to see Bill Nye as Q? Just let him be him, just with a lab coat and glasses. You know, just let him just have a complete ball. Then, as for Tanner, I could see Roy Kinnear saying, you know, it's a political role in a sense. You know, Tanner is a chief of staff, and he's the go-between the government and MI5. But if we want to get rid of all things connected to the Bond, to the Craig era, that's fair enough. So in that case, as for the new government official, I would love to see Karen Gillan in the role. She would be great, and it wouldn't be a massive role. She can do it for a day or a couple of days and then focus on whatever project she's onto next. And then on the plus side, she, like literally all women, rock a suit better than most men. Like, I mean, as for the villains, I mean, the villains have as much fun as Bond does. I want to have two villains in the film, one solely focused on the pre-title sequence, and that would be with Commander Bond hunting down, along with them, working alongside with the Marines, a arms dealer played by Gemma Chan, because she would be a cracking Bond villain. She would bring this glamorousness to the character, as she does with all her characters, and I would love to see it played similar to Astrid from Crazy Rich Asians. And then for the film's main villain, it would be Jed Harris. He's on the rise. He's, won acclaim for many roles that he's recently been in, like Chernobyl. And he reminds me a lot of Michael Lonsdale's Hugo Drax, it would be similar in that would be the type of villain in this interpretation, with Harris willing to destroy London to achieve his greater goal for a greener world. And for Bond girls, there'll be one traditional Bond girl and one that would be more in line with Harris's Moneypenny, Ana de Armas's Paloma in No Time to Die, Lashana Lynch's Nomi in No Time to Die. And one would be Ella Balenska as 003, who's one of the early inducted 00s, and her mission was to go undercover of Harris's villainous organisation, and would be 100% seen as Bond's equal, if not more experienced, because she's been a 00 for longer. But throughout the film, you have a question mark over her loyalty, and that's where I just want to leave it. The other Bond girl would be would be the traditional Bond girl played by Kate Beckinsale. You can make, she would be the wife of Harris's bad guy. She is as smart as he is, as it was their dream that they worked together for many years for a greener world, and was for a long time willing to do anything to achieve it. But her loyalty to her husband wanes when he becomes more violent and does more villainous things. And obviously Bond sleeps with her and gets all the details that he needs to do to enter the final act. But her disloyalty to her husband would be punished, similar to how Hugo Drax kills Corinne Defer in that brutal manner in Moonraker. That caps off the casting for Bond 26. Now let's move behind the camera, because the overarching tone, as you can gather from this video so far, is that I want a fun Bond, a fun adventure again. And the one director I can think of who would do that brilliantly is Edgar Wright. He would smash the goal, and I would love to see what his style of Bond film would look like, because it would be so fresh, and his way of handling, his style of action with the beat of the theme would be chef's kiss, similar to like how he was with Baby Driver. You can have the Bond theme and you can go to the beat of what it is. And I just would love to see it. And the colours that Wright uses would just pop out the screen. And the one cinematographer currently who does that better than anyone that I've seen so far is Greg Fraser. I think them two together would make the prettiest Bond film that could only be matched by the master DP Roger Deakins. If you've seen Fraser's work with Rogue One, and most recently Dune, and just check out the shots that he did with the Batman. It's going to this upcoming Batman movie is going to be incredible. And a lot of it's going to be down to Greg Fraser's cinematography. As for writers, I think it's time for Neil Purvis and Robert Wade to step aside, because they've been writing Bond adventures since 1999's The World's Not Enough, and they really need to do something different. So with her connection to Wright, I'd bring in Oscar-nominated writer Chrissy Wilson Kearns, as they currently work together in the upcoming Last Night in Soho, and did a wonderful job on 1917. Now, finally, the music, and the part that I love the most. The Bond score is really important to a film because you hear it throughout the film, not just the Bond theme. And somebody I had in mind would be John Powell, who did a terrific job on How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, and his solo score is delightful. And the fact that we talk about who would replace John Williams in the Star Wars score situation, Powell would be my top pick. He would, and similar to Bond, he would bring classic elements to the film, and I think he'd be closer to the lines of John Barry and David Arnold. If you're going to bring Edgar Wright in to bring something new in, then you should do that with the score as well. And there's nobody like newer and different than Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. If you just listen to their work on The Social Network, it is beautiful and haunting, and it fully deserved winning that Oscar. And then if he went with Reznor, he could help produce the Bond score, the Bond theme, and I would have that performed by the Foo Fighters, because I really need another energetic Bond song after 3 sad, utterly brilliant Bond songs, but they're sad in retrospective. And I don't need that. I want to go back to the Duran Duran, the Chris Cornell, the Carly Simons type of Bond song. Something, again, fun. I'm hoping you just get in that, that I want something fun again, that this should be an adventure film. And yeah, so why not have the Bond theme played by the biggest rock band in the world? The only other band I had in mind was London Grammar, because their orchestral version of Lauder's Feeling is goosebumpingly beautiful. If once you're done, I'll have a link down below. But once you finish watching this video, please have a listen, because you can understand why it would be perfect. So that's it. That is my 26th instalment of James Bond. What did you think? Let me know in the comment section below. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it is @Sean_Wren. That is SHAUN_WREN. If you'd like to read more of my work, it is at the Bear Cave. Again, a link will be in the description below, as will a link to Longmore's terrific artwork as well. It's really reasonably priced, and the detail is incredible. I hope in the future studios see it and give him licensed work. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.